Hi guys, FrostFangs here, welcome back once again to another Paladins video. We're going to be doing a patch overview pretty quickly because I don't want to waste too much of your time. I already did a preview and predictions sort of thing yesterday, and for the most part my and your guys' predictions were relatively on point. The live streams happened, but the PTS isn't up just yet, so it's kind of a middle video. Of course you can go ahead and check the patch notes out for yourself, they are live for everybody, but I'm going to be focusing this video on an overview, the general stuff, and my thoughts on them. So first off, we've got the new champion, Betty the Bomba, the Bomb Queen. That's her full name and the tagline. She is a damage champion, 2100 health, with a pretty unique kit, but it is similar to some of the other releases we've had, a combination of things we've already got in the game, but not too many massively unique elements to just her. Going through her kit, the grenade launcher is quite similar to Dredge's grenade launcher, the cluster grenade is similar to a Willow Q, Hail of Bombs is quite different, but it is a combination of things we've already got, similar to her movement ability, explosive personality, and her ultimate, which is just a modified version of like a BK Drogo's ult combo. That's the best way I can explain the abilities. They are all pretty straightforward. Grenade launcher, cluster grenade, hail of bombs, they all are pretty self-explanatory. The movement is a little bit different from what we've got in the game, and you kind of jump around. It's similar to stuff in other games I've played before, but it does fit into Paladins, and overall her kit is quite cohesive. Definitely a lot of flair, a lot of character. They fit the explosion theme very, very well. Her talents are also surprisingly solid. I don't know why I was expecting them to be sort of lackluster. With explosion characters, I feel like it is kind of hard to do, but these are interesting. The first one applies tick damage to explosions, which is pretty unique. The second one tightens the radius of the Q, the thing that you throw down that spams bombs everywhere, and then also reduces the cooldown. And the third one is a bit weird, but it reduces the cooldown of your movement ability, but also reduces the movement speed and the effectiveness of the movement ability. A bit of a weird trade-off. The other two are just straight buffs, whereas this one is more of a change. But overall, I'm really liking her kit, and I don't have too much extra that I can add on here because she is a very straightforward character. She's the explosion girl and is a mix of other stuff we've already got in the game that is based around explosions, pretty much. Also, don't want to spend too long here in the overview video because I will be doing full videos on the character and obviously the skins and all of that stuff, so stay tuned to the channel for sure. For her cards, all very normal stuff. Not going to read through them, but there were a few interesting ones that stood out to me. The generating ammo for damage done is interesting because if that triggers on shields and stuff, it could give you sort of an infinite ammo playstyle, possibly. I don't know, we'll see. Then the standard sort of cooldown, reduction, health, extra health, healing sort of stuff we always have in characters' kits. They're solid though. I can't really complain about them. I feel like she will have a decent variety of, you know, card loadouts and playstyles and stuff. I have read through the patch notes quite a bit already. I did give it about a day because I wasn't sure if the test server was going to go up, and I also wanted to sit on the notes a little bit and properly decide how I felt about them. But overall, I'm really digging Betty the Bomba. I think she's going to be a very, very welcome addition to Paladins and will fit in the roster quite nicely. She will also be coming with a set of skins. I will be showing these off in the overview video for just Betty the Bomba, but yeah, green sort of Joker looking recolor, the pink one, and then the mastery one, as well as some emotes, and then the event pass, the actual skins. I did think and talk about these quite a bit already before they were fully revealed, and somehow they still ended up surprising me and impressing me. Not all of them, but the Sky skin and the Khan skin are both fantastic. They are really, really well done. The art here does look good, but doesn't really do them justice because in-game they look even better. Again, don't want to overdo it here because I will be making full videos on them, but the Sky skin is top-notch, especially with the sort of Oni neon cyberpunk looking mask. I'm surprised they didn't put that on both versions, but it makes the recolor even cooler, and the one you get at the end of the pass. And then the Khan skins, both also fantastic looking in-game from the patch notes show, but I don't really like the recolor as much for this one. Really looking forward to covering these and actually using them in game because they're probably my favourite Sky and Khan skin, or at least top 2 or 3. Quite glad they went for the old version of the Sky weapon, the old wrist cannon thing, or whatever you'd call it, because I don't really like the new one that much, and this one fits the skins way, way better. I'll be making full videos on them. Right now they're sitting at around a 9 out of 10, somewhere around there, but I didn't pay too much attention to the effects because I want to see them for myself, and then it'll go up or down from there. Then we just have avatars and sprays and stuff. I'll go through this pretty quick. Don't really have too much I can add, but they are all fine. I don't really care about avatars and loading frames and that sort of stuff unless there's one that specifically impresses me, and those are all just, yeah, there. Then we have Trials of the Realm stuff. Again, going through this pretty quick. Following that, we have the Warder's Gate map update, which surprised me. I don't know why I wasn't expecting them to remake this one. I think it did leak a couple months ago. I feel like I knew this was going to happen before it actually happened in this update, but I might just be remembering wrong. Either way though, it does look good, but I feel like the old map also looked fine. I would have rather they remade an older map or just added a new one. Of course, I understand that a new map is a ton more work, so a remake is quite nice to see, but I'm just surprised they picked this one. But it does look good. Not really much I can say about it. They did make each side of the map a lot more distinct, and yeah, it just looks overall newer. I do want to mention though, just randomly, because I don't really have another place to put it in a video, the Stonekeep remake I actually don't like as much as I originally thought I would, just because the visibility and stuff going on with like the contrast when you're actually playing that map makes it quite a lot harder to understand and see. It just feels quite a bit harder to play on, even though it looks better compared to the older map. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that one, because I don't hear anybody talk about it, and even though I like the remade version of the map, I don't prefer playing on it, if that makes sense. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to it, but I feel like I played on it enough now. Anyway, moving on to the 7 skin, which I was surprised to see, because I did guess 7 or Khan, and we got both of them. We've got another one in the sort of demonic, green, evil, angelic demon set, similar to the one we got for Vatu with 7, which honestly looked fantastic as well. This skin also is really, really high up there for me. I'm really glad they decided to kick off 7 skins with just a fantastic release. The bombs didn't look that good in the patch notes show, but the weapon and the rest of the stuff was quite nice, although I don't know if I like it as much as Vatu's one, because Vatu's one blew me away. This is also, yeah, just really, really cool, and I'm glad they went through and actually decided to do it. Looking forward to more of them in this set in the future. Then we have the 2 that I was a little bit disappointed by, or not as hyped about, I suppose. The Cassie skin, Whipped Cream Cassie, which I'm sure will do it for a lot of you, but for me isn't the sort of theme I like for skins. Not that it looks bad or anything, it's a solid 6 or 7 for me, but it just isn't my sort of thing, and the effects seemed sort of lacking compared to the other ones. But again, we'll see, maybe they'll be different from the PTS and live, because in the patch notes show there was some stuff that wasn't working, so maybe I'll prefer it when it's finally released. I'll let you know. I'll probably make a full video on this at some point as well. And then Koga, obviously skins are super subjective. I'll talk about it more in the video when I properly cover it, but it might be a similar thing as with the Cassie one. We will see, but right now, not really digging it too much. Bomb King's Bomb was actually surprisingly good, even though it is technically, I think, a recolor. It does a really good job of making him look different and feel quite a bit different. I like the idea of BK being like a crash dummy sort of thing. It fits him, and yeah, just looks good. I like the BK one. The effects will probably be the same as far as I'm aware, but for a recolor, pretty top-notch stuff. Moving on though, quickly, we've got the new mount, which is a version of the other Dino mount, which I really didn't like very much. I don't want to spend too much time here talking about the negative things I have to say about this update, because it's pretty minor stuff, and it's things that other people might really, really like. Then some more sprays, avatars stuff, always nice to see. Then we've got an update to the anti-heal scaling. Basically, the in-hand cauterized stuff will be a little bit faster in Siege and Onslaught and King of the Hill. They said they might separate King of the Hill and Onslaught, which is interesting to think about. TDM, though, is staying the same. Overall, good idea. I think that makes sense. It was a little bit slow for sure, but maybe this will make it too quick, because I kind of liked it being a bit slower. Downside to it being slower, though, was some comps were a little bit too strong, so this makes sense. We'll see how it plays out. Then some changes to menu themes and map rotation for ranked and stuff. And finally, the balance, which is a little bit shorter than usual, but I'm fine, because the last update was massive, so this one being a bit smaller works for me. But we've got Cassie, who's getting a nerf to Megaton, which is perfectly fine to see. Koga getting a buff to running up walls, which is nice. And then nerf, I think, to his weapon fall off on his guns. The numbers here are a little bit messy, but I'm pretty sure it's a nerf, and Koga running up walls faster is nice to see, but it doesn't really fix the reason why it's a bit jank. Being faster is something that should have had done to it, but it is just janky as a ability, so they need to fix that before it's going to be super useful. Then Binary Stars getting a nerf to its fire rate. Lex and Vivian are getting a buff to the screen shake, essentially the recoil on their weapons, which I wasn't expecting, but, you know, nice to see. Makes it a little bit easier to play those supposedly easy characters. I'd say Vivian's was fine in my opinion, but Lex's one was definitely a little bit too much. Octavia, surprisingly, here is getting a buff, which I wasn't expecting, and also a buff to the way that I actually played her recently on the channel, and that I thought was sort of the best way to play her at the moment. Essentially 2 sort of small buffs to her Q. The movement speed debuff is going to be up from 10 to 15%, so 10% is not really noticeable. 15 is actually quite easy to pick up on. And then a buff to asymmetric warfare from 100 to 125 healing, 125 to 200 damage. I feel like I'm doing a bad job explaining this, but overall I'm happy with the changes to Octavia. I'm just surprised they're buffing her the way that they're buffing her. Her play rate is pretty low as far as I'm able to tell, and the way that they're buffing her is the way that most people were seemingly playing her already. So I feel like they now need to buff the other sides of her, maybe even more. I don't know, we'll see. I like it though. Overall, the balance stuff so far all makes sense. Then for Ray, the damage immunity you get while you're casting your ultimate is going from just damage immunity entirely to 50% damage reduction. I think that does make sense. The damage immunity was a little bit too strong, felt kind of bad to go against. 50%, maybe even 75% I think would be a better spot for it to be. And then she's also getting a buff to her weapon, 450, 435, speed 275, 250. 7 is getting enough to mag dump as everybody was kind of expecting. And then also a buff to the ult talent and a nerf to the deployment time on the bombs, which I think is fine, 15 to 6. It should maybe be somewhere more around, I think 10, 6 might be a little bit too short. I'll have to try it, but the buff to the ult talent is nice to see, and I'll play with it on the BTS when I cover the skin. And then finally, Tyra is getting a nerf to Burn Monster. It's no longer going to be a cripple, which is probably overall a good thing. I know a lot of people online have been very happy about that being removed. I didn't really get annoyed by it too often. I feel like even when I was playing a flanker, it was sort of easy to play around. I feel like I'm having a hard time here wording what I'm trying to say, but it's overall probably a good thing that the cripple's gone from it. It doesn't really need to be there, but I think they do need to now do something else with Burn Monster. I kind of liked the way that it worked before because it was a super unique way to sort of apply CC and also a huge area of damage, and it countered a lot of characters really, really well. But I'm fine that it's gone. I'm just hoping they do some other stuff with Tyra to sort of change Burn Monster and maybe the Mark playstyle a little bit as well. And that's it pretty much for the update. We've got some bug fixes here which I'm not going to go through, but they're there if you fancy, and then some general fixes as well. So yeah, there we go. Those were the update notes and sort of an overview on the Monstercat update. I'll have a bunch of videos, of course, coming on the public test server whenever it does become available, which is usually sometime around the weekend. And even though unintentionally I did it a bit in this video, I'll be going way more in-depth on those PTS videos about the character and the skins and the balance stuff. I'm sure if you're watching this far into the video, you know how I cover stuff and how this all works by now, but thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Of course, let me know what you want to see me the next. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you all really, really soon, and as always, stay frosty.